What's up, fam? I'm Chappell, host of the Recap Kickback podcast, here for the exit interviews for Deal or No Deal Island Season 2. With me, my amazing co-host Jenny Autumn, and the first eliminated contestant from Deal or No Deal Island Season 2, Luke. Luke, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing fine. Yeah,
Yeah, Luke, you had an incredible episode last night, and I'm dying to talk to you. Are you ready to answer some questions?
I'm ready, man. Let's have it. Let's have it.
Great.
All right. So you were ultimately eliminated last night by the banker and pulled that $1 case. Can you take us through your experience with the banker and going down to that final case and what exactly you were thinking? Because people had questions, Luke.
I imagine they would. Yeah, so I knew from the beginning I wanted to play the banker. I wanted to be at the controls, right? I didn't want somebody else to control my destiny. Before I even stepped foot onto the banker's island, I knew months ahead of time that case number 7, that's my ride or die. That was, for my father, Nick Saban. I explained that in the show. So that was my case. There was also a little bit of weight knowing that I'm the one that put our team at risk, right? That maybe it wasn't necessarily right that David or Seychelles were sent home. So there was a big part of me that thought, if this is destiny, let's melt this down all the way to case 7. I knew there was a point where there was actually a pretty decent chance I could have pulled through. And I was thinking about taking the deal, but the weight of knowing that, you know what, it probably isn't right made me just buy in more to say, you know what, screw it. Let's give the audience something to remember. Let's melt it down. Yeah, and that's exactly what we did. I thought we had a pretty intense game for the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Like no other game that we've seen on Deal or No Deal Island, at least so far. So you definitely like went out in flames. Like it was definitely a game to remember. And I gotta respect the gambler in you sticking to your number there. I wondered, you had so many like personal stories and connections to the numbers that you were picking along the way. Obviously, the most important number was the 7 that you picked for your case. Are these things that just kind of strike you in the moment as you're picking the cases? And we heard like a lot of influence from, the peanut gallery in the bleachers. How much is that playing into these selections? Like, is it superstitious or is it just a gut feeling? Like, I've always wondered that.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to be able to tune out the noise. The only time I ever really listened to the audience was when I was listening to percentages, right? And that just kind of solidified the fact that I did have a good deal on the table at one point. But as far as picking cases, no, these numbers are a part of you, right? They just kind of came out. It's not like something I recited at home, prior to the show. Okay, case 2 is going to be Derrick Henry. No, it just popped out. I was just having fun. You know why? Because yeah, just before I got on the jet, my father dropped me off at the airport. I was walking away and he said, "Luke, come here." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I want to tell you something." And he looked me in the eyes. And we don't have a lot of moments like that now that I'm older. That's more of something you do a father and his young son. He says, "I just want you to go have fun. Don't worry about the money you bring home. Have fun." And I carried that with me. And I tell you what, I had fun.
Luke, I have to ask though. I know you said you were able to block out some of the noise, but we saw parts of this episode where the noise would have really helped you out, especially when we saw your big decision with the cases in the challenge. Take us through it, Lucas. What happened?
Yeah. So one thing that wasn't seen on camera, and this should not at fault of the camera crew. Okay. They can't get everything. And if they showed everything, this would be a 6-hour episode. But there was a predetermined plan about what cases we were going to grab once we finished our excursion. We were going to take the highest case in the low case groupings, and then we were going to grab one out of the mid values. That was going to be enough juice to get us done. That's why Seychelles and I were done so early, and we looked like a couple of goofs standing there waiting for David. And I sure didn't hear him say, "Wait, wait, wait." David is a very masculine man, right? But that man needs to talk louder, damn it. I can't hear him. So when it came down to getting pressured, time to pick cases, I looked at my team because this was a team decision. They both clammed up. So what did I do? I just went back to what the predetermined plan was. Was it the wrong decision? Absolutely. Did I pay for it? Yes, as I should have. But I went with the predetermined plan that we decided as a group. One other thing I wanted to mention, I think you'd appreciate knowing this. Seychelle is a New Yorker, all right? She is full of, she's a firecracker. She came across as very toxic in the first episode. I want it to be known that she's actually a very nice gal. I have mad respect for her. She was that toxic towards me because we had a conversation on camera that, hey, you're going to be the one sent home if I win. She had every reason to be toxic. David and I had a gentleman's handshake prior to the game that if I won, he's staying.
That's very interesting because, how it looked on what we saw was, when you had these one-on-one conversations with both David and Seychelle, like it didn't seem like you were committing either way. We saw you talk to David, but it seemed like you weren't really fully committing to keeping him if you made a good deal. So how early did this conversation with Seychelle take place where it was basically, determined that that was what was going to happen?
I'll do you one better. The conversation that David would be safe happened exactly when David, Sydney, and I were standing in the water. That happened that night. He got this handshake. Seychelle was told she would be sent home the next morning. But it
That
wasn't seen on camera, and that's fine. It is what it is.
made it exciting for us, not knowing for sure what would happen, right?
Yeah.
So, knowing that you would have come after David potentially had you beat the banker, were there any other people in the game? I'm sorry, after Seychelle, if you had beat the banker, were there any other people in the game that you really thought you could work with moving forward? What was your plan had you made it through this round?
Yeah, so I'm used to people that are of their word. If you look someone in the eye, it means something. That's gospel, right? I didn't see a lot of that on the island, so I was pretty uncomfortable. There's a lot of snakes on that island. I'll let you determine who those snakes are. There's plenty of them. Rock was not one of those snakes. He was going to be a man of his word. He plays with integrity. Rock was someone I was going to work with. Storm was also someone potentially I wanted to get to know a little bit more. Maybe even Philip. The other ones I have questions about. But David and Rock were definitely ones that I felt comfortable with.
I gotta ask, Luke. We got some really fun moments from you about you had some fun little sayings. There was like adorable moment from your confessional where you're talking about the Wisconsin accent and that they're gonna need subtitles for you. Which I'm a Canadian. I'm from Ontario, so that accent resonates with me. Two things we need to know. When you said the banker or the baker, when you were talking about being a personal chef, the people need to know. Was that a Freudian slip? Did you say baker? Was it banker? Was it the accent? Do we
I
know?
thought I said banker, but it clearly sounded like baker. Maybe it was just a subconscious thing to say baker because my life is so food based.
Exactly, right? You're talking about being a chef, right? And
Yeah,
then the other thing that had us completely puzzled, and you don't say the actual word because these are still this is still the exit interview here. But something was in the ringer, and they bleeped it out. And
oh,
and Chappell, Rob, and I were absolutely puzzled. We wanted to hear more of these sayings from you.
Yeah.
yeah, that thing was the male reproductive organ. It's a word.
Okay, Rob, you were right.
Oh my God. Luke, you were so much fun in the first episode. I mean, a massive episode for anybody on Deal or No Deal Island for sure. But like, tell us, what didn't we see that you thought we should really know about your time on the show? I mean, you went out there to have fun. Did you have fun?
Oh, brother, I had fun, man. I had a blast. Things that weren't seen. I'll be serious and then I'll get to the fun stuff. I was semi disappointed that the handshake with David was not seen and did not play a role into the story. It really did make me look almost untrustworthy, and I strive not to do that. I wanted to be transparent and be known as the guy on the island that, hey, There's no screwing around with Luke. What he says is what it is. That really would have solidified that thought, but it is what it is. Now the fun stuff. Absolutely. I brought a fishing pole, a couple fishing poles. I had them shipped to Wisconsin, from Wisconsin all the way down there. Did some fishing when I was on the island. We had some great conversations. I ribbed my buddy Rock there a little bit. I told him he looked like ZZ Top. I mean, there was just a lot of fun moments like that weren't seen on camera. But that's because this season is so good. You can't put it all in.
Yeah, we want that 6-hour cut that we could have gotten from that first episode, like you said, right? Did you catch
Yeah.
anything?
Not really. No, I guess I just better stick to fish and walleyes back in Wisconsin.
Look, yeah, luck wasn't in your favor mostly through that first episode, I'd say, Luke. But we saw you have an interaction with Parvati that we thought was very fun. You weren't familiar with her from Survivor. Were you familiar with her? I guess how did you get familiar with her after the show? Because I'm sure you got to home and you watched it and you started seeing the previews and people are making such a big deal out of these Survivor players, but it didn't look like you really knew about them before going on the game.
No, I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know who Joe was. I thought maybe he was just some guy that that wanted to make a couple bucks. I didn't know. No, I actually had other people fill me in who I was playing with. I didn't know Parvati was. Thought she was just another person. That's all she is. She just has a reality television career. I don't care.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I don't watch a lot of reality TV. I watch football, and that's about the only time the TV comes on.
Mhm.
So, so,
By the way, it looks
so
like that's purple and yellow. That's not Viking colors, is it?
No, I'm a Ravens fan, actually. Thank you.
All right. Last year, we'll let that go. All right.
I like the
Sorry.
Derrick Henry shout out. I was like, all right, perfect timing for me, babe.
we don't want drama. Were you familiar with the show prior though? I know you say that you're not a reality TV guy, but had you watched Deal or No Deal Island season 1? Were you familiar with Deal or No Deal, the regular show? Like what got you excited about doing this?
I got excited when I got a phone call from my casting agent telling me if I wanted to win millions of dollars. See, prior to this, I was casted to be on Gordon Ramsay's Next Level Chef. I passed on
Okay.
it. My agent
Oh.
said, "We'll get you on a different show." And I thought that was the obligatory, better luck next time. She was true to her word. And I said, yeah, let's do this. I wasn't really familiar with the show. Of course, I watched a couple of episodes once I knew I was going to be on the show. But other than that, there wasn't much training or research done.
But that's great because at least I feel very much that, your genuine, authentic personality shone, like, in this 2-hour episode that we got from you, that it was not about being on reality TV. It was just that this is who you are and you're out there for an adventure. So I love to hear that, that was what it was about for you.
100%. You hit the nail on the head, eh?
Okay. Well, I have a question about that though. You were going to be on Next Level Chef. You passed. You came on Dondi. What's next? What can we look forward to seeing you on next? Because you have this casting agent. You clearly are. The camera loves you, man. You're clearly a star. What are you about to do? Is there more reality TV in your future?
I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. I kind of doubt it. I mean, you never shut the door on anything, but I don't know if I'm cut out for reality television. The thing is, back home, you look someone in the eye, they say something to you, that's gospel. On that island, that wasn't the case. I'm not built for that, man. Maybe I'm not reality television quality. But we'll see. Right now, we're just going to worry about cooking, dinner parties, and walleye fishing when we can.
Yeah. And where can the people find you if they want to keep up with any of your cooking, your personal chef, your business, anything you have going on? Now's your time. Plug yourself and let everybody know where they can keep up with you.
Bless you, brother. Yeah, you can find me at Private Chef Luke on Instagram. I also have a website, privatechefluke.com. And guess what? This is a tough one to remember, but Facebook, you can find my business page. It's called Private Chef Luke.
Consistent branding. We love it.
Love it. Jenny, anything else for Luke?
No, it's so great to hear that you had a good experience despite everything. You know, you stuck to your guns, and you went out and had an adventure. So that's what we love to hear. And have you kept in touch with the rest of the cast? I feel like it's a very interesting group of characters. So, you know, you've mentioned some of the people you liked, but there
Yeah,
is.
yeah. There's no ill will towards any of them. But there's people that I care to keep in contact with, and some, if we don't talk, that's okay too. I call Rock weekly and send David a message here and there. But yeah, no, it's I have at the end of the day, that was a temporary thing, right? We all have to return to normal life. We all have families, we have friends back home. You had to go back to that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything that you gave us because, you know, it was incredible episode and watching you play was riveting.
Yeah,
I
Luke.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your time, Luke. We'll definitely need to catch up with you at some point to see what everything else you have going on, but this has been a blast.
Hey, bless you, man.
All right, everyone. That was Luke, the first eliminated contestant from Deal or No Deal Island Season 2. To keep up with more of our coverage of Deal or No Deal Island, please remember to subscribe to the We Know Dondi podcast feed for weekly episode recaps and more on WeKnowRealityTV.com. Peace.